actually field trained me in the very beginning. He'll tell you the stories, running through the rain and stepping in different stuff. So, get over to KTPs, but this guy is a monster. One thing I can say about Mr. Alex is that he is Mr. Consistent, right? Throughout his business, recruiting, team building, production, Alex and Didi, I'm sorry, you know, they are a true definition of a power couple. So if you're on their team, you're lucky, right? You're very lucky, and he's going to bless us with some nuggets today. So give it up for Mr. Alex Cardenas. Yeah!
Good morning, Norco.
Good morning.
How we doing?
Awesome.
All right, it's great to be here. It's a pleasure being here. Obviously, I think this is the second time I spoke here, so it's good to be here. You guys excited?
Yes.
Yeah. It's really exciting when I see people on a Saturday morning, you know, ready to take notes in suits, where other people are doing what?
Sleeping.
I would say watch cartoons, but that's back in the day when we grew up. They don't do that anymore, right? It's a surprise.
That's 24 hours.
So, well, I'm going to share my story. There's some people that don't know about me. I see some new faces. I'm going to let you know my background and my wife. But even before I get started, I wanna just talk a little bit about my better half and in this business, because if it isn't for her, I probably wouldn't be here, just to let you know. Because there's always that self-doubt at times, and we all go through that, right? Anybody has self-doubt about not sticking around here long term? And as we go through those quiet moments of doubting and setbacks and false starts in our business, she's always been there for me. And whoa!
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So I'll stop crying. We'll get into it. I wasn't going to cry. So yeah, I wasn't going to talk about that, but either way. So let's get right into it. You know, I'm prior military. I'm not a financial guy by trade. I had no ambition to do financial services. You know, I grew up on the East Coast in New Jersey. As a young kid, I did play sports. I was very competitive. I played basketball, I played baseball, and I played some football. I didn't like the contact, so I stopped playing football in high school. It was too hard, you know, the contact. But I was very competitive. So as a young man, I had some big dreams and goals as a young athlete. So I wanted to do something great. So my goal as a young man was to go play for the Yankees, believe it or not, because I grew up during the 70s when, you know, Reggie Jackson used to play, and you know, remember those days before a lot of you guys were born. So those were the 70 Yankees, and they're doing good this year, but either way. And so I wanted to do that, and that didn't happen. You know, here I was graduating Catholic high school after 4 years. I had no ambition to go to college. My parents didn't save for college. So I ended up working at a children's clothes store about a mile and a half away from where I grew up. So a guy with these big dreams and goals, the athlete guy in high school, you know, the guy that people looked up to, working for $4.25 at a children's clothes store. That was minimum wage back in the day. So that was back in 1986. It was a long time ago. Living at home too. So it was kind of nice because I was living at home and I had to pay rent, right? So that money was just spending money. Actually, it was more partying money as an 18, 19-year-old for me. So I don't know if you guys remember back in the late 80s, you know, disco was in. And the nightclubs in New York were rocking. I did a lot of that stuff, right? The disco scene, the nightclubs, you know, getting home early with the buddies and having a good time. But my dad didn't want any part to do with that. So lucky for me, he talked to me about a year into that endeavor, and he says, and obviously, you know, when you party, you party, as a young person. He says, son, we need to talk. And I said, what's going on, Dad? He goes, listen, I see what you're doing. I really don't approve of your lifestyle right now, but I'm going to give you a couple options right now. And my dad is a man of few words. He doesn't say much. And he said, first option, there's a Marine recruiter that keeps calling the house. And I was dodging him. So, you know, the Marines were trying to recruit me, just to let you know. So I kept dodging the calls, and, you know, at first I took him, and oh yeah, so I kept dodging the calls. And back in the day, there was no cell phones. So it was the house phone and a voicemail. So my parents got the messages, hey, this is Sergeant so-and-so. we want to talk to your son. We've got benefits, we got pay, we got this stuff. And so my dad said, you need to go talk to the Marine recruiter. I said, no, Dad, that's not for me. I don't, I said, okay, then the other option, you need to move out of the house. And I said, why? I said, because I'm not having a person like you, the way I raised you, up to no good with no ambition in life. So I said, okay, I'll take option number one. So I took the train to Newark, New Jersey, the week following. I didn't have a car, and I met with a Coast Guard recruiter, not a Marine recruiter. Lucky for me, right? Sorry, guys. I met with a Marine recruiter, and it sounded really good. You know, I used to see the ships on the Hudson River, you know, go by, Coast Guard cutters and stuff, and they really intrigued me at the time. So I liked the mission. I liked the fact that I can help people with the law enforcement side of it, with the search and rescue, with all the stuff that Coast Guard had to offer. So I joined the Coast Guard back in 1986. So I got trained in Cape May, New Jersey, about 3 hours south where I grew up. I got shipped to San Francisco, my first unit, and there I was serving on my first unit as I stood watches on the ship, and I actually did boarding, so I was a boarding team member also. So we had a couple missions in the Coast Guard. We used to go up to the Bering Sea. I don't know if you guys know where the Bering Sea is at, but it's up by Alaska. It's the best fishing grounds in the world, so all the fishing fleets would go there. So we would regulate the fishing laws up in Alaska. So here I was in an orange parka. Remember the pictures you saw? With rough weathers, you know, boarding up, you know, we would launch a small boat, boarding team of 5. We would get onto another ship, a big Chinese fishing vessel, a truck, whatever it is, and we would actually count fish and make sure they're not breaking any rules. And it smelled really bad, so I didn't like that too well. It was cold. The one I liked was south, where I was doing the law enforcement stuff. So we used to go down south towards Mexico and close to South America, and we did law enforcement down there. And I enjoyed that, because obviously the weather was better and the ports of call were better too. Right? you know, Mexico, when you're 19 years old. So we were doing a patrol down in Mexico, and we pulled into a port called Puerto Vallarta. You probably heard of that place. It's a nice resort town. Never been there. So the ship pulls in for 3 days to pick up stores, which is food and stuff for the ship, and fuel up. You know, we just can't stay out there for 6 weeks. You know, it's every 7 to 10 days we'll stop for a couple days. You know, you're Navy, right? You know how it is. Yeah. And I started to have a good time with the guys, you know, 19-year-old at the beach and partying. And lucky for me, I met my soon-to-be wife there. So Dee Dee was vacationing there with her best friend in December 1987. And we kind of made eye contact, and you know, the rest was history, basically. 31 years later, here we are. We made eye contact. We kept a good relationship from distance. You know, I met her family. Basically, 6 months after we went, we got engaged. 7 months after we got engaged, we got married. So things started to move really quickly for us here. And for me, that was kind of good, because you know, I was still into the party scene. You know, being a young person in the military, and she kind of put me in check, obviously, on that one. You know, being engaged, no more of that stuff. No more Reno, no more, you know, that kind of stuff I used to go through. But anyway, so life started to happen for us. So I believe we started to live the American dream. And the reason why we got married in San Diego in 1988, we bought our first house in Murrieta in 1992. You know, we bought a big home because we couldn't afford a house in San Diego. And our first 2 kids, Alex and Stephanie, were born. So young family, homeowners. I was in the military. I was in E5. I got stationed down in San Diego, my dream billet. She was running a dental office in San Diego. So life was good, wasn't it? Wasn't it? It wasn't really good. Because what you don't know behind closed doors is that we struggled financially. We did. Even with, you know, E5, we know it's not a lot of money, but you know, you throw the housing, you throw all the other stuff, it adds up a little bit, right? And the benefits. And she was working, you know, 2 incomes. We were struggling. We were living paycheck to paycheck. And one of the struggles we had a lot was physically talking about just arguing about money. The fact that we just didn't have enough, or we were mismanaging it. And I want you guys to know that if you live in California, if you don't make a 6 figures, it's very difficult to live in this house with the family, in this state for the family. So that was us. 2 kids, mortgage payment, car payments, credit card payments, taxes in California, kids in sports, you kind of see how quickly it comes in and then went out. Why do I say this? Because the best thing that happened to me is I was on somebody's prospect list 11 and a half years ago. And I'm going to talk about a prospect list as I do my topic here after my story. And I walked into a BPM, I wore a red name tag like most of you guys did, like the guests are doing today. And I walked in, and forever it changed my life. So I want to thank the people that actually did that, because they're not here anymore, believe it or not, and they were good people. And sometimes people just don't stick around because of reasons happen, but I want to thank them for putting me on that list. So I want you to be thinking as I train today, who haven't I talked to? Because if you're not talking to everybody you know, your loved ones, your close people, you're not helping them out probably, most likely. And forever it did change our lives. So let's fast forward now, kind of where we're at today. Remember that paycheck to paycheck life, the struggles, no peace of mind. We don't have that anymore. We have a good quality of life. Not just financially, because we've gotten rid of all our debt. You know, we have a house payment and a car payment, but we don't live off borrowed money like before. We had like 5 credit cards at the time. We have kids that we can provide for. We can take trips. We can do things. And I didn't sign up for that. For you young people here that just started the business, I didn't sign up for that when I started here. I signed up to make $2,000–3,000 to get out of debt or make extra money like most people do. That's what I signed up for. That's what we signed up for. And we did that. Because my first month license and train, I made $3,800. So Ramsey, where are you? I mean, Alberto, there you are. 10,000 points? Well, I did 20,000 my first month. 19,992. Because you know what? I saw the value here. I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it the right way. I'm not going to play around here. And I did play around for some time, Nick, and you remember. I missed meetings. I thought about not showing up. Our license, we did our license quick because it's a classroom setting. So we did those things, but when we finally decided, said we're either going to do this the right way or we're not going to do it. We're not going to tippy-toe through the process. That's when things started to move a little bit forward for us. So I want to thank Nick, because without him, we wouldn't be here. And I told you about my wife not being here with him also, because early on in the business I had challenges too. We all go through challenges. I failed my test, my securities test. I failed it twice. The second time I failed, I thought about quitting. I was missing in action. And all of a sudden, I'm watching the Laker game at my home, and the doorbell rings. And I go to the door, and I was like, who's there? Like, it's 8:30 at night, and I look, it's Nick. I said, oh, shoot, let me go hide. Because he was calling me, I wasn't answering his call. And then she goes, you better answer the door. So I answered the door. I said, hey, what? We came in, we watched the game, no business was talked, but I knew that he cared about us. He cared about our future. So what I want you to understand that this is stuff that happens. Everybody's going to have a different story in their career here. The challenge is, for most of us, are we going to stick around long term to reap the benefits that the company can offer? I think Alberto was talking about, or Ramsey was talking about being a long-term visionary, thinking about long-term. This is not a short-term plan. Don't think you're going to come here in a year and make it happen. You'll make money. But in order to have the lifestyle, to get good at the skills and do the things necessary, you got to stay here long term. Sound fair?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about business. Can I be upfront with you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to be very direct with you guys, but in a nice way. Who here has a license? Most of us. Who here is going to get a license? Everybody, right? That's the plan. So I want you to understand that if you have a license, or you're about to get your license, or if you're in your course, you have a fiduciary duty to uphold that license, to use it. It doesn't mean you go get a license and don't put it into the work. You understand that? Think about like a doctor or a dentist or somebody that has to get licensed to do something. They get licensed, a surgeon gets their license and all their training, and all of a sudden, you know, somebody comes into the hospital and they don't want to work on the patient. Are you helping that person?
No.
No. But by not using your life and health license, because that's all you need today to make money here, you're not helping people out in what we do. And I'm gonna let you know, guys, I've been doing this for 11 years, and I sat down with a lot of people, all ages, all shapes, all sizes, all backgrounds. I've done it all. People need what we do. There's a need for what WFG has to offer. And if you don't believe that, you haven't been on enough appointments. So get on more appointments so you can see the value on how we can change families' financial future. You follow me?
Yes.
Because you should be thankful that you're learning these concepts and applying them for yourself, but now the job now is that somebody helped you, right? Because obviously if you're an associate, you're a client of the business, right? Normally if you got fast started the right way, if there was a need and affordability, but now it's your job to go start helping other people. And it all starts with basically your prospect list. And let's talk about prospect list, because I think that's a very deep subject. I think that's where it all starts, right?
Yeah.
So think about a prospect list. Who do we place on a prospect list? Who are the people we place on that list?
People that we know.
People you know, right? It could be who? Your family, your friends, your co-workers, people that you know through people through school, people you went to school through. It's basically, that's your inventory. That's how you start. The founder of the company still has his old prospect. I've seen it. Is it like on a yellow sheet or something like? And it's written in pencil. And he says, my business started with this list. And from this list, I have all this today. So if you're holding back to talk to somebody that you should be talking to, then shame on you. Because this is what I tell people. If I were to say this, you go talk to everybody you know on your list, everybody you know. You don't leave anybody out. And everybody you say is going to say, yep, I want to come in on Tuesday or Saturday. Yes, I want to sit down and get a financial review. I want to kind of see what's going on. If you knew that they all said yes, would you talk to more people?
Yes.
Okay? So that's the mindset you need to be having when you make your calls, when you contact them during social media, however you do it. You have to have the mentality of saying, I'm going to talk to people, and if they say no, it's on them. But I knew that I was there to show them two things. Two things we show here. The first thing we show is a business opportunity. You can change their life in regards to work-wise, peace of mind, control your time, the stuff that we have today and that Nick has. Because you know where we were headed? 20 plus years in the military, I was going to retire, I was going to get 30% of my final pay, which is, you know, think about it, that's my pension. At 44 years after I retired, I was going to get 30% of what I made serving my country. And don't get me wrong, I'll take it. 44 is a pretty good age to start drawing money, right, for the rest of your life. I'll take it, you know, it is the plan. But what I'm trying to say is, I was going to go get another job. That was my goal. That was all I knew. I said, okay, because everybody in the military, you know what they do? They work, and they get out, they go get a government job. And then they're in the same rat race. They're working civil service, contracting jobs, living here, commuting 2 hours, in traffic, having a boss, no control of their time. That was our second work plan. And lucky for me, we got this going part-time. When I say got it going, we got it going. There were months that we made pretty close or probably more than we made full-time in the military after 20 plus years as a senior person. Just like Randy today. I mean, you know, I'm sure they don't pay you $10 a month, do they?
No.
Okay. You might have to be the general to get that maybe, or, you know, or colonel, maybe something like that. That's not going to happen. So, make a choice. You got to make a choice. Where it's either this or that. So the good thing is this: you have people in place to help you through the process. So as you're at work, if you're part-time here, and most people are part-time, yes?
Yes.
Who's full-time? Sorry, raise a hand. Very few. Oh, he's full-time. Okay. So very few. So you're part-time. So now you have the ability to go to work, and then you leverage your trainer, your upline, your SMD. They do all the work for you. They're going to build you a team. They're going to field train you. They're going to mentor you through the process. But if you hold back your list, if you don't expand that list, because eventually your list is going to stop growing if you don't keep it growing, and that's a whole different training I'm not going to get into. You continue to add names to your list. You have people in place helping you build your business. Where else can you have a business that you're starting to build from the ground floor and somebody else building it for you while you're in your 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 job? Where else? And mind you, there's no capital to get into the business. Because I'm going to tell you, what was our initial investment for most of us? $100. And the state requires you to get a license. So now, free to get in, right? Free to get into business. And you have somebody else probably doing it for you. But you're learning as they do it, so you can know how to do it eventually. That's the process here. Sound fair?
Yes.
So, I ask everyone here, not too many people stood up when how many families were helped. There should be more people standing up, more families being addressed on the financial side on a weekly basis. Because what happened between Tuesday and Saturday? What were we doing? Where was your calendar? That's the business is the, if you're trained, it's to have a calendar of appointments to go see people. And if you're not trained, then you got to have appointments to get trained. You follow me how that goes, and eventually we train you, and then you can start to do your own team. So I want everybody to really take a grasp on that, because people need what we do. Yes or no?
Yes.
And you probably, for some of us, we see our parents in a bad situation, right? Probably they should be doing better. What if you can be where you break that generational gap of financial non-education, or whatever you want to call it? What if you're the first person that says, okay, nobody taught my dad, nobody taught my granddad, but I'm going to be the first one to start to apply these financial stuff. I'm going to do the right thing. And then basically, obviously, you do it, and then you're training other people, but then you start to teach your own family how to do that for the rest of their life. How cool is that? And that's what we, the people here that are been around, our kids are on track. Our kids are on track. Sound good?
Yeah.
On track to where they know that they need to be saving at a very young age. And one thing that we said, we said we got to do this because we don't want them to be 40 years old like us and start there. And we have catch up. It's a little bit harder when you get older. Follow me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's make it easier on our children, on our grandchildren. Let's make their financial situation a lot easier. But it all starts with getting out there into the field, okay? I'm going to keep it very simple here, folks. For some of us that are new, there's a lot of new people here. There's some that have been here. This is not a hard business. It's not really hard. We have a book we follow. Stay with the book, follow the book. For us, most times when we start to say, well, nothing's happening, there's two things that are happening. Number one, we're getting a little bit lazy. And number two, we're not following our system. Follow me? So write that down. So no action, no money, no team, no production. It could be laziness. Or, you could be away, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that everybody's lazy, but it could be like, but, we're going to talk about scheduling too in a minute. But obviously, but let's talk about the fundamentals here. It's very simple. There's three things. So if I say these are the fundamentals of WFG, let's keep it very simple. The first thing you have to do is do what? You got to get your license. Everybody's got to get a license here to make money, yes or no?
Yes.
So that's very simple. I always tell people, when you get your license, you don't got to do it again. You pay the state the money, it's all good to go. Good deal? So let's get the license, pay the state their fee every 2 years, and you never got to do that again. So what is it that we got to continue doing? I'll tell you right now. Number one is we got to continue field training. We got to be out in the field. We got to have appointments to see clients, right? So if you're not field trained, then get field trained so you can field train your own team. Yes or no?
Yes.
Think about it, how cool that is. The company has a great exchange principle that says, listen, I can field train you with your first 10 family, friends, your little warm market that you have, and then for the rest of your career, you'll be able to be in other people's markets. So that's an exchange principle saying, give up $10, and I'll give you thousands and thousands later. Who wants to get the thousands later? Right? That's long-term thinking. This is short-term thinking. When you say, well, I don't want to give up my list because I don't want you to sell to my family. I want to get licensed first. That's short-term thinking. Follow me? So, got to get your license. You got to get yourself field trained. Do the KTPs. That's where the money's made. That's how we help clients. And lastly, if you want to build a business and get to an S&D contract, you got to have a team. You got to be able to recruit and train others and build others and get them licensed and get them independent from you. And that's it. How simple is that? What's the work involved? The book tells you what the work involved. You know, we can talk about how to create a list and how to make the calls, but that's a whole different training, like I said. But just write those 3 things down and say, okay, I got my license, done. Okay, where am I lacking? Where is my business lacking today? I got my license, but I'm not making money. What am I not doing? Well, I don't have appointments. Right? I don't have a team. I'm not inviting. My team's not inviting. And there has to be a sense of urgency to step back and say, let me step away, let's evaluate what I've been doing or what my team's been doing, and let's do a course correction here so we can start to have some things happen here. Yes or no?
Yes.
So that's the process. Do it over and over and over, and when I say do it over and over and over, is you have to be very consistent. Without consistency in anything, in health, you know, some of us work out and eat healthy. Without consistency in that, you're not going to get healthy. You're not going to get a 6-pack, you know, or get big or whatever you're looking to do. Without consistency in WFG, your business doesn't get healthy. And consistency basically means this: showing up, right? For us part-timers, I'm going to tell you how it works. Is there a marker?
Yeah.
Over here. You have to schedule. So I want you to understand. Let me see what's happening. Okay. I want you guys to understand that you need a schedule, because doesn't life hit us?
Yes.
Work, commute, family, working out. But does WFG really require much time to really start to get it going? It's really not really. It's a focus on scheduling the right things. If you know, one hour a week, you make your phone calls. How many phone calls can you make in an hour?
30. 40.
For some of us, we probably make 2 because we speak too much, right? And, you know, it's an area of disaster. Very simple. Each phone call should be quick, right? It's just, you know, keeping them interested and getting them in. But you can make a lot of phone calls. Break it up. But have that in your calendar. Say, hey, Monday nights, I'm coming to phone zone. What else are you doing Monday night? And if you can't come to phone zone because your kids are at home, whatever it is, then you have your own phone zone. You know, there's times that we don't do it. We stay at home, but we lock the doors. Our kids are older now, but even back in the day when our kids were younger, we locked doors and we took care of business. No distractions, that's what it means. Right? Is your calendar, you look at it, if you open, does everybody have a calendar?
Yes.
Is it on their phone or is it a planner?
Plan for
Planner, phone, up here.
phone.
Okay. So the whole thing is like, you open up your, I mean, do this test right now, like not now, when you leave or tomorrow or after the weekend. Open up your next week's calendar. What do you got going on? You have appointments. That tells you where your business is headed. Because you know what you're doing? You're working today for appointments later. So if you have nothing going on in the next couple of weeks and you don't do anything about it, then your appointments are going to be for another month. And you're delaying everything till later. So that's important, the consistency. But scheduling is important, guys. Put the time in. Get the scheduling done. It's extremely important that you focus on that time. Just like you had a part-time job, right? I'm going to go to work part-time. I'm going to be here Tuesday. I'm going to be here Saturday. I'm going to make my calls, and I'm going to, based on my calls being made, I'm going to have maybe, you know, I think if you're part-time, you should probably be in anywhere between 4 to 6 appointments a week. You know why? Because you're not going to run 6 appointments that week, because the numbers are going to run themselves. Out of those 6 you have scheduled, probably 2 rescheduled. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? And think about it. So you have 6 appointments for the week. Right? So then 2 will reschedule, so now you have 4 that you really run. So you run 4, and probably you're not going to close everything. So probably 50% close. Ask yourself this question: what if you close 2 appointments a week, consistently every week? How many is that a month?
8.
Average appointment, I'm gonna say 150. That's 1,800 target premium. 1,800 times 8. Somebody help me out.
14.4.
That's on it.
Oh, wait.
Check it out. 14,400 points, part-time. If you're an associate, you're not a senior associate, you're not an MD, you're not an SMD, you're an associate, you're an associate. Luis, congratulations. So here we go. 45% contract is the associate level. You're roughly making 7K part-time. What is it that we don't see there?
The work.
Cut it in half. I do a lot less. You break it in half, you're still making $3,500 a month here part-time. You follow me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're gonna decide what you want here. Nobody's gonna say, you know, you have to have goals every month. And that's, you know, I see the board here, which is awesome, and we have one too, but every month we have goals. The individual goal and team goals. And you have to know where you're headed. You're striving to reach something in business and by yourself. And you gotta take a look here and say, hey, this is my contract level. If I wanna make $7,000, if I wanna make $5,000, I gotta do this much production. I gotta make these many calls. I gotta run these many appointments. I gotta have this stuff. You have to do some reverse engineering to figure out what's going on. But if you're going into it, you know, lost, it's gonna be very difficult. Okay? That's good, right?
Yeah.
It keeps you in check. It keeps it very simple. So every month, you know, do the engineering, go backwards. Say, hey, if I don't got appointments, but I said I want to make $5,000 this month part-time in WFG or $3,000, whatever it is, you got to get to work. The money's not going to come your way for free. You have to apply yourself in regards to that. Okay? Everybody want to be an SMD here?
Yes.
Yes.
Does it seem like unachievable?
No.
No, huh? Okay. It did for me when I started. It did for me. And for us, not hard. It's not easy. It's a focus. You need to be focused on what you want. So if it's SMD that you want, if it's cash flow, but we're talking about SMD now, you have to have a focus on SMD. It should be your dominant thought when you're in WFG. What is it that I need to do to get SMD? The production, the licenses, the size of the team, the cash flow. You gotta know where you're at. So if I say, hey, if I pick your name and you've been here for a while, do you know exactly how far you are? You gotta know. It's gotta be, you have to have clear directions. Because you wanna get here, and you're here, and you need to figure out how to get from here to here. And mind you, you need help. You need a mentor. Not gonna happen by yourself, I'm gonna tell you that right now. You need to go up. I always tell people this, the closest person to the SMD in the base shop is the next SMD. Am I right? Am I right? So I know your closest guy right now is Matt Chang, I assume. That sounds like he is. Closest, coachable, there, boom, accountability, all that stuff. So everybody here should be striving to buy his time. Because the more time you spend with Nick, or with Cynthia, or with Reggie, with Thomas, whoever it is, that's it. You're being mentored because he's going to help pull you up. He's going to help pull you up. You got to get up, but he's going to start to pull you up a little bit. He's going to start to believe a little bit on you. He's going to start to work the process with you. And for us, that's what we needed. Because we knew that we can probably do the production, but we needed a mentor in place to kind of really help us out in that process. Right? So get together with your SMD and say, hey man, I want to be your next SMD. And you know what, I'm going to be honest here. We haven't had an SMD promoted in a while. Why not? What's the deal? You should be saying, I'm the next SMD. Make that decision and then apply the work and start to think about it more. Because what you think about more, what you focus more on, you're going to get. If you focus more about people quitting, you're going to get more people quitting. If you're going to focus more on chargebacks, you're going to focus more on chargebacks. That's what you get. You get what you manifest in your mind. So what are you thinking? Is it good thoughts? Let me ask anybody here a question. What is it going to take to drive you out of WFG? Anybody? What is the one thing that say, I'm done with this thing, I can't take it anymore? Is it like after so many people quit?
Not being able to pass your test.
Not passing your test? Chargebacks, clients changing their mind after a while, and then they take back, they put you in the negative, and you gotta, what is he gonna take? Because what I'm trying to say is, if there's nothing that's gonna have you quit, then you have to not focus on that stuff. You gotta keep going through the bad times. And eventually, the more you go through the bad times, the easier it gets. You know what a chargeback means to me? They didn't want any help. They got excited that evening and they got going and I want to send my kids to college and all this good stuff. You know what? But they don't want a better future. I did my job. A teammate quits, you know what? They're lazy. Excuses. Their wife got to them. It wasn't WG, it wasn't me and Dee Dee or the upline. It's them. Well, don't be so hard on yourself. Everybody here is doing what's right. And what's right is helping people. Remember that. That's what we do. We help people. We don't go out and sell a $50,000 car to somebody making $50,000 a year. Do we?
No.
No, we don't. Because that's not right. That's not helping somebody. That's putting somebody in debt and overextended. We help somebody making $50,000 save $100, $150 so they can have millions of dollars tax-free in the future. How about that one?
Yeah.
Don't you feel good about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So know that you're doing good. So you gotta keep believing that. And go through the times and pay the price, and eventually you're gonna look up after 2, 5, 10 years, and you're gonna say, man, I really got good at this thing. These KTPs is like, I can do it with my eyes closed. For me, I know for you, you can probably do it like, it's natural. It's classic. Repetition. So you gotta get good at the business, the skills, right? But do you have the heart to keep going through, right? The skills we can learn, right? Can we learn? We can learn a KTP, we can learn how to make a phone call, we can know these certain things, but do we have this when things get tough?
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, that things get tough. We all go through tough times. Even now, we all go through it. But you know what it means when you're down on your back? Are you gonna stay down on your back or do you get up? Because we start to doubt ourselves. You gotta get up. Because you know what? Everybody here has dreams and goals. I know you do. I know some of us with kids want a better future for our kids. Some of us want to, make more money. Money's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not everything. It's not everything, but money can solve a lot of issues, basically. If you're a good person with money, then you're a good person with money. If you're a good person, then you become a good person with money. If you're a bad person, then you're a bad person with money. So don't be the bad person with money. Be the good person and then get money, right? I'm gonna leave you with a couple things and I'll close. Can I do a couple questions, like maybe 3 questions? Is that cool? I want you to write these three words down. Coachability, integrity, and character. Talk a little bit about each one. Anybody play sports here?
Yes.
Right. So would you say as an athlete, your coach knows more than you?
Yes.
Why?
More experience.
More experience.
More experience, he's got wisdom.
Yeah.
He's been there before you. He's done it. He knows the X's and O's. Right? Who do you think is the best football coach in the NFL?
Bill Belichick.
I would say. Well, think about it. Bill Belichick is the best coach in the NFL. They've been the dominant team. What makes Tom Brady so good? Tom Brady knows his stuff. He's been playing for 20 years. The guy's 41, he's playing another year. So Tom Brady's still playing right now. But what makes Tom Brady so good? He's coachable to Bill Belichick still at this point. He doesn't know. He doesn't say, I know more than you do. I got it figured out. I'm the best. I got 5 or 6 rings. I don't know what he got. He's 5 rings. He's got a lot of rings. He still listens. He listens to Bill with respect. He's going to say, Coach, okay, I gotta listen, I know, inside you know, but then apply what the coach tells you. And that's what wins championships. Even in basketball, you know, you can go into like, you know, John Wood, and we can kind of go through the process here. Coachability is important in WFG. The moment you think you know it all is the moment you don't know it all. There's always somebody else that knows more than you. So seek that coachability, and you know where to seek it. There's people here that want to help you. Coachability is important to be successful in WFG and in business, any type of business. That's having a mentor, somebody that's going to help you. Integrity is the next thing I want to talk about. What does the integrity mean to some of us?
Integrity to me is doing the right thing even when nobody's looking.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. That was going to be my definition. So would you do it if your mom was watching you? Would you do it if the Pope was watching you, if you're Catholic? Would you do it? Behind closed door, are you going to do what's right? And when I say what's right, it's what's right. It's what's right. What's right for the consumer. Yes. What's right for other people. Don't take advantage of other people. You always got to do what's right. I always tell people, because what you give, you're going to receive. It always comes back tenfold. So have integrity. Do what's right. It always catches up with us. You'll get ahead probably when you do it, but eventually it'll come back. It'll catch you and it'll bite you. And now you got to start to work your way up again. So do the right thing here in business. Okay, and then the last thing is character. What does character mean? I'll explain it. Character is being a person in your word, in my opinion. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Or at least you're going to say, hey, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to get my license. I'm going to go and get field trained. I'm going to go and start to invite people. I'm going to go and, you know, do 10,000 points, whatever your goals are. Don't say it if you're really not going to do it. Apply yourself. Even if you fall short, that's okay. But if you put some effort into it, maybe you fall short. But don't say I'm going to go do 10,000 points and 3 recruits this month, and then the month is over, then we're at 0-0. That shows me that you don't have any character, in my opinion. Yes or no?
Yeah.
And it's not. It doesn't say much about a person. So be a person of your word. If you're going to say, hey, I'll be at the BPM, I'm going to be at the BPM. You can count on me. I know that we need the help running here. I'm sure there's people missing here today. Missing on my team too. I actually got a text from a teammate saying, where's the address today? So he must be lost or he decided to change his mind. I got it at 6:30 this morning. So that's not having character. So have character. Be a person of your word. These things are going to help you become a better WFG person. Round it off. Because you know what? People are looking at you. If you want to lead a team, if you want to be an SMD, you have to have these traits. You don't want to be the bad master copy and then you start to be the bad person. That's not doing the right things. Okay? Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm up. My time is up. I got maybe 2 or 3 questions if you'd like to shoot any questions for me, or if not, I appreciate the time here, but any questions, anybody? No?
Thank you.
We all know it all?
I'm
I'm joking. No. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to share your fast start process when you're meeting the families. If they're younger, are you meeting family members, or you're just taking them through the younger recruit?
So the fast start process, if I have a young recruit and I'm fast starting them,
Are you meeting family members, the parents, or how are you dealing with it?
yeah. Ideally, you know, everybody has the same fast start. If they're single and young, they just go through the same process. If they're married, I meet with the spouse also during the fast start. I like to meet at their house. If they don't want to meet at their house, that's a little resistance right there. That's telling me, well, you got to get into the house, meet with the spouse, because if they open their door to you, that's somebody that's inviting. If they close the door, that's going to be an uphill battle. But you still got to do the process. And yeah, you want to, you know, if you've been sitting down with somebody in their 20s, early 20s, you know, the market's not that well, and I'm going to let you know, it's not a good market to be in. But, you know, people are looking to save money in that market. You know, you want to get, you know, prospect list, young people know young people. That's what's going to go on there. But you, as a person fast starting and the field trainer, you have to start to elicit the names of not the young people. Don't say, go take a list and fill it out. Say, hey, who do you know? Where do your parents live? Do you have any aunts and uncle? Who do you know that's in there married, homeowner, and kids? Right? Don't say take the list, because they're going to bring you a list of, you know, kids living at home, and then that's not a good environment you be in to help. I mean, you know, you do it, but you have to take the time out and elicit that list in regards to the people you want in that list and you want to see. Yeah, and that's a good point, because that prospect list of that new recruit is very crucial that it's a good list. Because I've gotten lists that I've been in young markets or bad markets, and I've done it early on. So now I'm a little bit more cautious about, you know, who I field train. If it's a young market, I'll give it to a young trainer. Why not? That's more of a matchup. That's the way it should be. But it depends on you, right? Anything else? No? Okay, thank you for your time, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is that awesome or what?
Yes.
Got to get you something from that?
Yes.
Something you can immediately implement to your business?
Yes.
We're not done. So, get the opportunity to bring up this gentleman. Wow, you got a pretty good day of nuggets here, man. So this gentleman, field trained Alex, right? In the business, 13 years now, multiple offices, 14 years. Am I doing correct? This guy's in the hunt, leading from the front, always, right? Recognized throughout WFG, you guys, and we got them in-house right here in our Norco office, and you guys have accessibility to them down in Temecula too. So give it up to Mr. Nick Lancaster.
Big Bay Shop.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Alex do great or what?
Yes.
How many of you guys have never heard his story before? Or have never met him before? Okay, almost half the room, that's awesome. I do have some recognition for him as well, because not only is he an SMD, him and his wife, Dee Dee, not only are they great friends, and we know, great friends of mine, and as well as my mom's, and the entire team. They're do-it-first leaders, but everything that Alex is talking about and how they run their business is not just something that they're just talking about, something that they're actually doing. And so I want to recognize them as well. Not only did they do BBC, but they went over 30,000 personal points. So when we talked about those pins, the 10,000, 20,000, the 30,000, so it was like a silver pin, a gold pin, and then what we call a black assassin pin for 30,000 personal points. They did that last month as well. So not only are they leading the charge, and now they have teammates doing 20 and 10. So can you guys give them a big round of applause?
Yeah.
Good stuff. So hey, just to kind of wrap up, Reggie had mentioned that yeah, I mean, this business is about duplication, right? I was field trained by Guillermo, which is our EVC, right? And then when they came into the business, they were a training appointment for a couple that brought them in. And I sat down with them, did their KTP, and then when Alex was getting licensed, he went and did his 10 appointments with me. We didn't close anything, right, on 10 appointments, but that's not the purpose of it. The purpose is to get trained too. And everyone those 10 people saw what he did, and later went back and did business. But it's that duplication. It's like every single one of these SMDs know how to get a result across the kitchen table. So that's where that comes in, and so this is great. And then now, not only are they doing it, now they've been able to duplicate themselves in Ramsey's and Alberto, and then you know several others. So you know this thing's awesome. I love hearing from these guys too. I love hearing Alex's story. I love seeing people win in the business where you've had some kind of impact or influence on it. You know, you keep always hearing lead from the front, but I saw something from Greg Kapp. He says you got to know how to lead from the back too, and give your teammates the credit of them taking the initiative and running their own show. You know, these guys are down in Temecula running their own BPMs, running their own teams, running their own fast starts, their own field training, their own events, their own team meetings, their own meeting after meetings, and their own pre-games and all that stuff. And that's what this is about. And that's what we're building here in Norco too, in every single office that we run. I don't have to be here this morning. This thing would have ran like, you know, like no other. And we plan on going to other areas. So I want to give you guys 2 words. One is passion. You know, me, my mom, and my son Tatum. You guys know who Kobe Bryant is, right?
Yeah.
And he had won an Oscar, right? He won an Oscar for this little short film, Dear Basketball, right? And then he just won like an Emmy, right? He got an Emmy for it too. So here's a professional basketball player that now has an Oscar and an Emmy, right? And so pretty incredible. But so I had never seen it. I'd heard about it. I kind of read the letter before. I never saw the actual film. So we watched it in my car. We were like backed into the driveway, you know, backed in because that's how I charge my car. Backed into the garage, and we're watching it on my phone. And how many of you guys have seen it? Has anybody seen it? Okay, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's a few minutes, and maybe we'll play it at one of the BPMs. But it got you know as we're going through it, my son noticed that my mom was kind of tearing up a little bit. You know, my mom started tearing up a lot, I guess. Whatever. So afterwards, my son goes, hey, was that like a sad story? Because like he didn't really know why she was crying.
Right.
Because it was it's a story of how he gave his life to the thing that he loved, right? And which was basketball ever since he was 6 years old, and all that stuff. And so it's actually a really cool little story. So the word came up about passion because I said, hey, she's like, well, why is she sad? I said, well, because his eventually Father Time catches up to you, right? In basketball, you can only go so far. You get a certain age and you can't do it. So imagine being getting to a point in your life where you love something so much but you can't do it. So the word passion came up, and so my son starts asking like, hey, so starts asking about as I said, hey, that was his passion. He gave everything to the sport that he loved, and that's what he dedicated his life to. To be the greatest, you have to do those things. And so I share that, and obviously, my son's like, well, what's your passion? And is asking my mom, Missy, what's your passion? And stuff like that. He's 7 years old, and it's a pretty deep thing to really think about, right? Like, what is your passion? Like, and at first he's like, well, what exactly does passion mean? I said, well, it's just something that you can't stop thinking about. It's something that you love to do, or you love to be a part of, or right? And so you got to think about WFG like not saying everyone's got to be passionate, about this, but kind of if you want to get good, you do. It doesn't need to be your entire life, but if you're going to play at a high level, if you want to be the Kobe Bryant, then yeah, you're going to have to go that far with it. And so I want you guys to think about that is your passion, that conviction level, people can see that. When we're out there helping families and, you're building people within the business, the more passion, the more conviction, the more convicted that you are, the more successful you're going to be. So that first word, passion, think about that. You don't have to write it down right now, but, what makes you passionate about WFG? What is your purpose here? Let's break it down like that. What is your purpose here? Because, if it's just to make a couple extra bucks, and then, we all start like that, but it's going to grow from there. It's going to build like a muscle. The more meetings you come to, the more, the more KTPs that you go on, you go to convention. All of this is stoking what we call this fire, right? It's a stoke this fire. Write that down. Stoke this fire. So You have this fire inside of you, and every meeting keeps that fire stoked. Every appointment keeps that fire going. How big is your flame? Convention, that keeps it going. That sparks a whole nother thing. That keeps that passion and that conviction level high. You ever notice when you miss a meeting how it starts to go down? And then when the fire's down, the focus goes away. But when you're here, when you're in the field, when you're doing appointments, when you're on top of it, when you're in communication, the passion's high, the conviction's high, the focus is high, the fight, right? That flame is high. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So passion's a big one. The other one is vision. Those are two things that really stand out to me when I look at WG and I look at leadership and I look at winning in business. I think about that. I go, it's passion and vision, man. It's what's your passion, and then now, what is your vision? Ask yourself, what's your vision for this? Where do you see yourself, right? I was having a conversation with a couple of leaders, like, where do you see yourself in the next, 12 months? Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years, 5 years? I had a conversation with Matt, hey, where do you see yourself 5 years? Do you see your business at in 5 years? A branch like this is easy, you guys. This is a couple grand, it's a couple grand a month. It's a few grand a month. And then amongst a few leaders that have offices that are, chipping in, that's a branch. A branch like this, helping 30 families a month, pay you about 20, 25 grand a month minimum as a broker. You got to start thinking about, where's your office going to be? How many leaders are you going to have? How big's your team going to be in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days going into convention? Right? How big's this thing really going to get? As big as you want it to, as big as your passion and as big as your vision allows it to get. Low passion, low vision, small business, small income. Big passion, big vision, big business, big income. There's no secret to this, right? But keep that right there. Keep that going. Hey, what's the next step? What's the next level? Right? How does this thing work? I'm going to give you guys a couple of things here really quick. Number one, identify exactly what you want. Identify exactly what you want out of WFG. You've got to get clear on that. Write those things down. That should be part of your business plan. What do you want out of WFG? Well, I want to be financially independent. Okay, what else? And how much is that? Is that amount of money you make per year? Is that a certain amount of money you want to have saved? Right? What do you want? You want complete control of your time? You want to be full-time? You want to have your own office? You want to be an EVC, a CEO, EVC, a field chairman, right? A field chairman, when you reach field chairman, just the bonus alone, when you reach that promotion, just the guideline itself, like when you meet the minimum guideline, the bonus is $1 million a year. Bonus. That's not counting what you make on the points, on the production. Just the bonus is $1 million. If you just hit the bare minimum. You hit the bare minimum. I think it's like 30 million. I think it's 30 million. It's 30 million in 12 months or whatever it is. You and your team, 30 million. But that literally pays you. It's $1 million extra bonus that they give you. So so your overrides is already a few million, and then $1 million a year bonus on the bare minimum. Well, what happens when that number grows and that bonus gets bigger? Unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Actually, it's believable, but it's amazing, right? You can't say unbelievable anymore, right? Unbelievable almost, you start getting into technicalities. It's like, no, what? Unbelievable, no, right? Okay. 2, figure out the size of your business that you need to achieve the goals you want. So what's your team need to look like? Let's say your goal is SMD. You need 10 licensed agents running. You need 10 licensed agents running. Not just 10 people showing up. Not just 10 licenses on the system that aren't here. 10 licensed agents running. Like running meaning like producing business, getting recruits, writing points. 10 minimum. That means you probably need about 20, 25 people showing up, and you got 10 running with you. right? Ramsey's, can you and your team stand up real quick? If you're on Ramsey's team, can you guys all stand up? I want to see how many of you guys there is. See, look at this. See, this is the start of an SMD run right here. This is the start of an SMD looking team. Right? Now it becomes which one of you is next to be a licensed field trainer, right? Getting through your 10 appointments, 330, awesome. Getting through your 10, you know, going on to senior associate, who's going to be the next go-to? When these guys, you know, when you guys are all recruiting, who's going to be the field trainers to make sure that every single new recruit is getting out on their appointments? That's how this thing starts to run. That's how this thing starts to get big. You guys that are looking at this is what it starts to look like. You guys that want to hit SMD, this is what it starts to look like. Right? It's you out there building it. It's you out there producing and developing other people that can do the same thing. I like what I see here. I like what I see here. You guys got a good little thing going. And it's going to get bigger. It's going to get bigger. So you guys have a seat. Thank you. But figure out what it's got to look like, right? Number 3, be the example. Become the person you want to recruit. Become the person you want to recruit. Man, I just wish my team was more ambitious. Well, how ambitious are you? I wish they were more coachable. Well, how coachable are you? I wish that they would do more appointments. Well, how many appointments are you doing? I wish my team would bring guests. Well, how many guests are you bringing, right? Just be the example that you want, you know, that you expect from your team.
Guests are ready, you guys. So they're already finished filling out the
You guys that have guests, whoever has guests. Okay, number 4. So you guys get the whole being an example, right? You got to be the most positive. You got to be right, committed. You got to be here. You got to be working the business, having activity, because that's what you're going to expect from your people, right? Number 4, be a thermostat, not a thermometer. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer. You guys know the difference, right? So one controls the temperature, and the other one just basically measures what the temperature is, right? So you're be the changer, not just the reactor, right? Be the changer, not just the reactor. 5, don't be a victim of your circumstances. Stop being a victim of your circumstances. Right? Like, oh, you don't know my story. You don't know what I'm going through. Everyone's going through something. Matter of fact, you know what makes it even more worth it is when you're going through more stuff and then you still win in spite of. Yep. Because then when you write that story, right when you're telling that story, people are going to be like, "Well, I didn't even know you were going through all that stuff." Don't dump all your problems to other people. Right? Mm-hmm. Trust me, I've made that mistake. Yeah, but this and that. So the worst thing you could do. It actually shows a little bit of weakness, and other people can take advantage of it. Right? Think about that. It's a no excuse mentality. It's a no excuse mentality. Stop being a victim of your circumstances. Matter of fact, a lot of circumstances you had, you created yourself. So now it's just self-inflicting. You did it yourself, and then now you're bitching about it. Well, you brought it on. Instead, just don't talk about it, don't focus on it, and do what you got to do. It makes it that much more sweeter. I love the fact that I've had challenges and that I've still persevered, because it makes it that much more better. Number 6, avoid delusion. Avoid delusion. What do I mean by that? How hard are you really working? Oh, I'm trying to get this thing going. Yeah, but how many numbers are you getting? How many calls are you making? How many hours are you really putting into the business? You are where you are based on what you've done. There's no other way around it. You're not where you're at, you're not doing what you got to do. Stop being delusional. Yeah, but I'm doing this. Okay, if you really are doing that, then you'll quickly get out of your situation. But if you keep tricking yourself into thinking you're working harder than you really are, you need to stop that. You need to stop doing that. Okay? Number 7, become an effective communicator. Part of coachability is constant communication. Constant communication, right? You need to have constant communication with your upline. Constant. I talk to Guillermo every couple of days, every day, every other day. You know, a text, Angelica, G, call. And now at my level, it's probably not every day. It's probably a couple times a week. If you're in the bait shop, every day. Every day. Well, what do I talk about? Check in. Hey, this is what I got going on. Or, you know, whatever. Just something. Every single day you should be checking in. You should have constant communication. The same thing with your teammates. It's easier to reach up than it is for someone to reach down. Right? It's like, imagine a grandparent who's got like, you know, 18 grandchildren and six kids, 18, you know, and they all had 18, you know, they all had 3 each, and there's 18 of them. Hard for that for that grandfather or grandmother to reach out to everyone. But how hard is it for the grandson to reach his dad, or the dad to reach his mom? Right? You got one upline, but you know, so your downline is going to be a lot, but you got one upline. It's easy to reach up. But keeping good communication, keeping constant communication with your teammates. Don't entertain negativity. Right? These things are important in effective communication. And then number 8, wrap your head around recruiting. That's your advertising. That's your marketing. The more recruits that come in on the marketing side, the more you're going to have on the financial side, which is then getting licensed, getting trained. But you got to focus on the marketing side. That's what brings you business on the financial side. That's what the method to our system. Right? If you're just focused on getting licensed and helping families, that's great. But put the marketing side to work too. Start to work on your marketing, therefore you'll open up new markets and new appointments and new activity. Make sense?
Yes.
I want to tell you guys something. A lot of people aren't in here, but we have some big plans. I think this is a, you know, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This is a team of destiny. You know, it's not always perfect. Not always, you know, we're not always got the best momentum. It comes and goes. Right? But there's men and women in here that will be future big-time builders in this business. You have to believe that. You have to believe that, you know, in every inch of your body, that you were destined to do great things, and that you're here for a reason. Right? Think about it. Think about what it's done for you already. Even if you've barely been here, think about what it's done for you already. Whether it's the relationships, whether it's you becoming a better, you know, communicator or relationship builder. You know, and by the way, as I say all these things, these are all things that happened for me. Being a shy introvert, I wasn't the best communicator. Right? You know, the fact that you now know how important it is to save money. I mean, down to the littlest things. Your leadership, personal growth, the impact you've been able to make on other people, the knowledge and experience that you've got from an entrepreneur perspective on how to build a team, how to build a business, how to run a business, how to run an event like a BPM. You guys that come to pregame and see, which we encourage everyone to come to pregame, right, to learn the duties. Hey, who's gonna, you know, you guys don't realize, but that's part of leadership development. When we say come to pregame, it's like, hey, who's doing sergeant at arms? Who's doing the AV room setup? Who's greeting at the front door? Some people just walk into the BPM just like the meal's already been prepared, and you just walk in like Thanksgiving dinner, just, I'm ready to eat. Everyone else took time to set the table, to prepare the food. That's where pregame is. That's part of leadership development. And when you learn that, you can take this BPM and run it in your own branch. Right?
Yeah.
So transfer that passion into the execution of the fundamentals that he talked about, right? The pre-planning, the scheduling. You put all this thing together, we're training you how to become a successful entrepreneur. We're teaching you and developing you to become the leader that's going to impact thousands of people's lives. We can't do it alone. We're counting on every single one of you. We don't need you, but we're counting on you if we're going to go do something big. And if it's not you, it's going to be somebody else, but it might as well be you. You have dreams, you got goals, you got things, right? You're here for a reason. Let's get aggressive with this thing. Let's get a little bit more serious. Let's get a lot more serious. Not just a little bit more serious, let's get a lot more serious. Let's get a lot more efficient on our efforts. Right?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, 6 months is going to go by. 12 months is going to go by, and where are you at? Versus someone else. Right? There's a guy, Mario Bione, he's got a guy up north, he made 300 grand his first 3 months of the year. Went over $500,000, he's 2 years in the business. Some people take 6 months just to figure out how to do a KTP. Where's your passion? How big's your vision? Right? So thinking about this stuff, you guys, it is go time. It is go time right now for you to make a big move. We're in May, we have 3 months until convention. About 3 months. We're June, July, we're about right on 3 months right now. Actually, about 3 months away from convention. Right? You gotta start looking at size of your team, you gotta start looking at your next promotion, how much money. And here's the last thing I want to end with. You have to establish an income goal. You have to have an income goal. Let's be real, the business of business is to, 1, stay in business, but 2 is be profitable. So you are here to make money. So you need to get really, really clear right now on exactly what you want to make this month in May. What are you gonna make? And I don't care, you know what? It's like what Alex said, hey, you know what? Integrity is saying something and then doing it. Don't say you're gonna make 5,000 if you haven't even made $500 or $1,000. But guess what? Say 1,000 and let's go freaking make 1,000. Let's go figure out how to go make $1,000. And then once you can make 1,000, you go, shoot, that only took 1 appointment. Yeah, that's all we need you to do is do 1 appointment. You make $1,000. What if you did 2 appointments? Wow, wait, that's 2,000. If I did 3, close 3 sales, that's 3,000. You kidding me? Right? He says 8 in a month. That's 2 a week. That's 7,000. Well, 1 in a week is 3,500. Just like what we show on the presentation. It's 1 app a week at 150. You're making 3,500. 1 app a week. Well, what if we said 1 app a month? If you're not doing that even a month, let's get you to 1 app a month. But what is your income goal? Do not let months go by anymore. No months go by with $0. And some people are looking around going, oh, I didn't know people don't make any money. You're like brand new. You're like, I thought everyone's making 4 or 5 grand a month. No. If you're working, you are. But if you're not, you're not. Make sense?
Yes.
Then there's people making 20 and 30 and 40, right? There's levels to it. Well, we got to start somewhere, but every single month, you got to be laser focused on that. We can't just go, hey, all right, see you Tuesday after this meeting. I was going to be like, hey, what are we doing right now from now till Tuesday? What are we doing from now till next Saturday? Every single week, your job is to start generating activity. We all got to get on that train. We all got to get on board with that. But what is your income goal? You're here to make money, right?
Yes.
You're here to be profitable.
Yes.
You're here to become financially independent.
Yes.
You know you can't become financially independent without making money.
Yeah.
Right? Can you imagine? Financially independent. How much have you made? Well, still getting around to that part. You know what I mean? Well, I'm learning how to recruit. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's your marketing side. But, you know, so when we come to Tuesday, we're going to be going over presentation skills and make it, you know, right? The KTP, the product, the product, compare apples to apples. We're doing a 401k versus IUL. Right? And that's where that field training comes from. You know, Guillermo never did any product training, never brought a product provider in, never talked once about product at a BPM. It was all just recruiting and leadership, everything. And you'd ask a product question, he goes, let's go out on an appointment, I'll show you how to do it. That's all that it was. So that's how I learned. Now we go through all this product training and stuff, and then people don't go out in the field. I'm like, well, wait, did we get confused on, like Alex said, the money to be made is in the field. You make money on an appointment. You don't make money showing up to a BPM with a guest. You need that guest to maybe get more appointments. But we gotta book appointments, right? We gotta go out and meet with people that need our services, that need our help. These are people that don't have savings or have savings in the wrong vehicles. It's wide open, you guys, it's wide open. But if you're not laser focused on the income goal, then you'll just let days go by, weeks go by without doing anything. If you're like, I gotta make $3,000 this month, then every single week you're going, shoot, I gotta make $900 or $900 this week to be on track. That means I gotta do that's why I do 3 appointments. If I close at least 1 or 2 of those, that's what I'm gonna make. You gotta be aggressive with this thing. Income goal. Your income goal. This month, next month, every single month, until you're financially independent. It's pretty awesome when you get a pay cycle that's what you used to make a month at a job. Yeah. Awesome. About my average pay cycle is about what I used to make a month at a job is now just a half of a week. And that like frustrates me because I'm like, man, I should be like way higher than that. But it's still a pretty good feeling. You know, I got an average cycle, I got $3,200 on Friday, not huge, but that's what I made as a branch manager at ADT Alarms for a whole month. And that was just Friday's pay. Boom. That's cool. Didn't even know I had business. I don't know what business was submitted, and $3,200 pops in the account. Woo. But that should be like 5, 10, 15, 20. Half of them. But we just want to get you guys pay cycles, right? So there's levels to getting paid here. We get pay cycles every Tuesday and Friday. So first, we just got to get you on the scoreboard. No matter what it is, you just got to get on the board. You got to get license appointed, and then put an app on, and then you'll get paid. My first check was $27. My first check, I took a color copy. I have it, $27. I was like a split on like a $12 term. Seriously, $27. But at least that will show up on your statement, on your direct deposits. It'll say $27. Hey, you're on the board. Better than not being on the board at all. So you got to get on the board first. Then it'll be, you know, so I'm assuming it's going to be $100 or more, because then you don't get $27 pays anymore. I don't know how that was even possible back then, but it somehow it almost was like an Amway deal. It's like, I made $27. Like, I'll brag about that. Oh, whoops. You know? But so you start doing 100. So first it's getting a pay cycle, then it's getting one every cycle, right? So hey, how many out of the 8, 9 in a month? I got 5 this month. Man, okay, we got to get you 8 of them. Every single time a pay cycle hits, I got one. Then you get into commas, right? And you get the comma cycle, which you guys see on WeChat. The comma checks. Yeah. You get the comma checks, right? So hey, how many? All right, so I got paid 8 times. How many comma checks out of the 8? Oh, I got 1 comma check. All right. Hey, next month we got to get you 2, 3 comma checks out of the 8. We still got to get you 8, but we now got to get 2 or 3 commas. Then you get consistent with commas, and now you're at $8,000. You do consistent commas on average for the year, that's $100,000. Right? $8,000 a month, $100,000 in a year. Just comma checks. But we got to get you on the board first, then get you consistently on the board, and then we got to get you commas on the board. Right?
Yeah.
We can't get distracted with other things. We can't go, oh yeah, but this or but that. No, that's what we got to do. That's what we got to focus on. Everything else is just leading to that. You're bringing guests to lead to that. You're recruiting people to lead to that. You're doing appointments to lead to that. You're getting licensed to lead to that. It's all leading to you making big money here. That make sense?
Yes.
You guys fired up?
Yes.
All right, you guys. That's it for today. Alex did a great job. Give another round of applause.